Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Great Minds Tutorials back with another one. And in today's episode, I'm going to be doing episode number 4 of object-oriented programming. So in this episode, I'm going to be introducing something that is very interesting. I'm going to be bringing in the concept of a class. So we're going to be working with the backend class, and this is how we're going to work around it. And firstly, let us just briefly go through a little bit of the theory that we need to go through. What exactly is a class for those who are new to a class? So a class is like some sort of like a template that you create in order for you uh, you're going to use that template in order for you to create objects and define the object's data type and methods. And the other word for a template you can use is that it's a blueprint that is used in order for you to create objects. And you also define the objects and you also give methods for it. So I'm going to go through all of that and explain where are we actually defining the objects and where are we actually putting in the methods. So and then what are your objects? So your objects, those are the items within each and every category. So in this case, when you create a class which is a blueprint, it needs to be in a form of a noun. So let's say I'm creating a blueprint which is a student. So as soon as I create a student must have fields, what we call private fields. So the student must have a name, a student must have a surname, a student must have an age, and a student must have a student number. That is what we are basically talking about. So okay, let us do it practically in programming. Then what I'm going to be doing right now, I'm going to be opening a new project. And inside here, I'm going to be creating an application which I'm going to call it, let me just call it App Student. So I'm going to show you this way of doing it. And then you create the project, which is your app site. And then once you're done, you go to where you've created the application, which is App Student here under your project. That is an Apple app student. It's this one. So once you get to this project, you right click here, you say new Java class. This is how you're gonna create a Java class. So in this case, I'm gonna create a Java class. I'm gonna call it a student. That is the name of my class. It's a noun. I'm I'm gonna be dealing with the what? The entity which I'm gonna be dealing with is a student. So now for your under your packaging, you then have to usually whenever we are working in companies, let's say you're working for Google. So in this case, let's say we're working for Great Minds, we're going to be using the website of Great Minds Tutorial. You use it in reverse form. So it's com that Great Minds tutorials www. Usually we use the domains. So okay, now when you get here, this is your class. This is no longer the main class. So the main class is inside this file. So if you come here under the app student package, you have your main class, which is your Java file, and you have a backend class. So this is what we call backend class. So in your main class, this is where your main method should be found. And in this case, once you get here, you're going to start with what we call private fields or attributes. We call them attributes or private fields. So you name it as private, and then you give it a data type. It's a string. Student can have a name. Then you can say private string also. A student can have a surname. And then you need to say private. You can say integer. Maybe a student can have an age. And then let's have a private integer. Then we can have maybe an STD, student ID that we're going to use to identify each and every student. So now, okay, in this case, once you have that, you need to have what we call a constructor. So this constructor is what you're going to use in the process of class instantiation. What is class instantiation? Class instantiation is the process of you creating objects for a class. So you're going to use that constructor in order for you to create multiple objects. When you're going to have student number 1, student number 2, student 3, a student doing agric, or a student who's studying information technology, a student who's studying computer sciences, and all of this kind of stuff. But the common thing is that all of those students must have a name, must have a surname, must have an age, and they must also have a student ID. So, okay, how do you do that? I'm going to show you shortcuts. You right click, you come here to insert code. You're going to click here on constructor. So if you want it to be a default constructor, you do not select anything, and then you say generate. This is how you're going to have your default constructor. So usually what I do is that I then tend to use my default constructor to reset all of the values to null, meaning that I'm resetting whatever has been stored previously or whatever that the class is carrying currently. So, and then to do that, you say this, you use the this method. You say this dot, you say age, you assign it to a 0 since it's an integer. And then you're going to say this dot student ID, you're going to assign it to a 0. And then you're going to say this dot name, you're going to assign it to an empty string because it's a string. And then you're also going to say that this dot, the last one, which is the surname, you're also going to assign it to an empty string, double quotation. Why? Because it's a string, it's not a character. So now, after that, that is what we call a default constructor. Then now we're going to do what we call a parameterized constructor. So which one is a parameterized constructor? Parameterized constructor is the one that you're going to use in order for you to give the class some values. You're going to use it in order for you to give the class some values or to construct your objects, which is the process of, let us put it in proper programming terms, that we're going to use it in the process of class instantiation. We're going to use it in order for us to create the object. The other one, we use it to reset. This one, we're going to use it in order for us to create the objects and give it the actual values. Okay, now, so remember the other one, nothing was selected. But in this case, you're going to select all, and then you say generate. Then it's going to do everything for you. It's going to do the this dot, it's going to say name, but this is how you must parameterize it. You must give it parameters, and that's how you're going to have it. So now we're going to get to the methods part. Now, so the methods, a class has got two types of method. It's got a setter method and a getter method. What is a getter method? A getter method is the one that you're going to use in order for you to get values from a class, which was been created to that specific object. And a setter method is the one that you're going to use in order for you to update whatever value that has been stored. So instead of us using this constructor in order for us to update the values which are inside the class, then we are going to be using setters methods in order for us to, maybe let's say we wanted to only update the name, then we're going to use the set name in order for us to update it. So how do you do it? Also, you right click, you go to insert code, and then you go to the setters methods, and then you say select all. You want to do setters for the age, name, student ID, and the surname. And then it's going to code it for you, and then it's going to say set name. So whenever you are setting, then you're going to be updating only the name instead of you using the constructor in order for you to do that. So those are your setters method. So the other name for a setter method is what we call a mutator method. So the other name for a getter method is what we call an accessor method. We use it to access values. All right, so now let us do the other one, which is your getter method. So you click here on getter, select all also. Then you're going to be having your get method. So in order for you to get only the name, you will use that. In order for you to get only the surname, you're going to use the get surname. In order for you to get the age, you use get age. And then in order for you to get the student ID, you're going to use get student ID. It's going to start making sense as we progress with this object-oriented programming. But in this case, I'm just going to show you how to create the backend class. There's a lot of things that we're going to be doing with your backend classes, and there's a lot of modifications that are going to go through. So after this, we're going to do a toString method. So what does a toString method do? A toString method, it will show you the current state of a class of what has been stored currently in the class. So let's say currently I have stored my name as Khodiso and my surname is Mashile. My age is 22 and I've also stored my student ID as 111. If I use the toString method, that is what is going to show me that currently that is the current state that has been stored. So when you get here, you just have to make sure that everything is checked. Usually is checked, and that is it. You're going to do the toString method. So once you have this, it's sufficient for you to be able to create your first backend class if you're new to programming and you're following our series. So, but in the next episode, then we're going to be doing user other stuff, which are going to be working with the backend class. And we're going to be introducing to your manager class. And from the manager class, we're going to be bringing up your interfaces, and then from the interfaces we're going to be declaring all of the methods that are going to be used in the method, and then we're going to implement those abstract methods in your manager class. Then we're going to be connecting this to the main class, and you're going to see how we're going to be able to store values and also access those values. But that is it from me for this episode. Till the next time I drop, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Till the next one. Cheers.